after a week of cross-border artillery and mortar exchanges between Turkey and Syria in response to Syrian shelling. The top military commander today said Ankara would launch an even tougher response if Syrian shells continue to land in Turkey. "We retaliated immediately. We also inflicted losses," the Turkish news agency quotes General Mehmet Özel, chief of the Turkish General Staff, as saying about the shelling, which killed 5 in the Turkish border town last week, reports Bloomberg. "If it continues, we will make a stronger response," Özel said. Özel didn't expand on the kind "thank you for trying" verbose. "This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Of added force Turkey could use against Syria, but his statement comes almost a week after Turkey's parliament authorized military offensives into foreign countries, including Syria. And yesterday, NATO said it was drawing up plans to defend Turkey in the case that Syria's war spilled over the border again, reports Reuters. Think you know the Middle East? Take our geography quiz. We have all necessary plans in place to protect and defend Turkey if necessary, NATO Secretary-General Anders Fogh Rasmussen said in Brussels, noting that the 28-member NATO alliance, of which Turkey is a "thank you for trying" verbose. "This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Members was holding out hope that an alternative path could be found. Turkey has reinforced its 566-mile border with Syria, but tensions have escalated as Turkey has reached out to Syrian rebel groups fighting President Bashar al-Assad over the course of the 19-month conflict. Today, several mortars landed in Turkey across from the Syrian border town of Asmaran, and heavy gunfire could be heard from Turkey, according to a separate Reuters report. Whether the shells are intended for Turkey, or are simply due to Syrian troops overshooting their rebel targets, is unclear. "Thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The United Nations and activist groups place the death toll of the Syrian conflict between 20,000 and 30,000 people. An estimated 100,000 refugees fleeing the violence in Syria are now housed in Turkish camps. But Turks living near the Syrian border have experienced the day-to-day terror of Syria's ongoing conflict as well, as described by Reuters. Just outside Hasapesa, nestled among olive groves in Turkey's Hatay province, the sound of mortar fire could be heard every 10 to 15 minutes on Tuesday from around the Syrian town of Asmaran. A Syrian helicopter flew "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Over the border, villagers used ropes and boats to ferry the wounded across the river into Turkey. Rebels with a Lifeco 47s slung over their shoulders carried a Free Syrian Army officer down to the riverbank on the Syrian side, using a carpet and 2 poles as a makeshift stretcher. The seriously wounded are ferried across to Turkey, while those less severely hurt are patched up at a makeshift first aid center on the riverbank and sent back into Syria. "We are living in constant fear." The mortar "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Sounds have really picked up since this morning. "The children are really frightened," said Haley Nasioglu, 43, a farmer from the village of Yolazikoe near Hasapesa. Unlike the flat terrain around Akakakale, the border area in Hatay is marked by rolling hills with heavy vegetation. Syrian towns and villages, including Asmaran, are clearly visible just a few kilometers away. "It's only right that Turkey should respond if it gets fired on, but we really don't want war to break out. We want this to finish as soon as possible," said Abiden Tong, 49, a "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Tobacco farmer also from Yolazikoe. Though Turkey was the first nation to retaliate militarily against Syria, Syria is not looking for a military confrontation, Jahad Makdisi, Syria's foreign ministry spokesman, told Bloomberg in the phone interview today. "Syria is in a self-defensive mode and we will act accordingly, but we are not looking for any military confrontation," Mr. Makdisi said. "What happened was an incident, not an attack. This incident is because of the presence of armed groups in that area." Turkey has criticized the international community for what it sees "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. As a lack of support as the Syrian conflict heightens, reports the Wall Street Journal. But others say Turkey and the international community should be wary about participating, even tangentially, in Syria's civil war, sending weapons to rebel fighters, or even non-lethal aid. The Independent's Robert Fisk compares perspectives on the Syrian conflict to those held about Northern Ireland and the IRA during that conflict. Odd how these things get forgotten. Now it is plucky little Turkey, hosting the opposition to the Syrian regime, funneling weapons and armed men across the border into Syria. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Encouraging the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad, which is the victim. The IRA's terrorism against the occupying Brits has been transmogrified into the valiant Syrian resistance against a vile Allahite-led regime whose Ba'athist acolytes must be crushed in order to bring democracy to Damascus, etc., etc. Now the usual caveat, which will be forgotten by those who wish to accuse the writer of being a member of the Syrian intelligence service. Bashar al-Assad is a despot. His regime is awful. Its policemen torture on a scale that would stun the RUC thugs who beat up. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. They're Catholic prisoners in Castlereagh, and Syrian militias fill mass graves. There were no mass graves in Northern Ireland. But, when it comes to international law, to moral compromise, to sheer hypocrisy, the Western powers take the biscuit. Law Clinton raves on about Syrian depravity when Syrian shells slaughter a Turkish woman and her 4 children, which they did, but give succor to the gunmen who torture and kill and suicide bomb the regime's supporters inside Syria.